The Twitter files have been making headlines worldwide, but if you're relying on corporate media for news, you've probably only heard that they're a nothing burger, or maybe that the company has been suppressing various right-wing personalities and their reach, and not about the much more important story that the national security state has captured control over one of the globe's largest town squares. This essentially confirms what we here at MintPress have been reporting for years. So let's get into it. What do the Twitter files actually say? Twitter secretly works so closely with the FBI that they were called a FBI subsidiary. The FBI has a social media-focused task force of 80 agents and constantly pressures Twitter to take action to change the platform more to their liking. A measure of this is that between January 2020 and November 2022, the FBI sent over 150 emails to Twitter's trust and safety chief, Yoel Roth. But MintPress readers will know that the FBI's penetration of Twitter goes far deeper than just collaboration. In June, we released an investigation showing that how in recent years, Twitter has hired dozens of former agents from the CIA, FBI, and NATO to work in their most politically sensitive departments, including security, trust and safety, and content moderation. For example, in 2019, Dawn Burton left her job as Senior Innovation Advisor to the Director of the FBI to become Senior Director of Strategy and Operations for Legal, Public Policy, Trust and Safety at Twitter. And Karen Walsh went straight from the FBI after 21 years at the agency to become Director of Corporate Resilience for Twitter. And they're just the tip of the iceberg. In short, Twitter doesn't just work with the FBI, its own departments are swarming with spooks. Perhaps more incredibly, Part 8 of the Twitter files revealed how, despite promises to shut down covert state-run propaganda networks, Twitter was actually directly participating in one, helping the Pentagon spread fake news and regime change propaganda in Syria, Iran, Yemen, and across the Middle East. The Department of Defense gave Twitter a list of dozens of propaganda accounts it ran, instructing the platform to whitelist them, shield them from suppression, and artificially boost their reach, something that Twitter complied with. Many of these accounts are still up and running to this day and do not identify that they are in fact run by the US military. But this wasn't the first time that Twitter had collaborated with the US government's regime change attempts. In 2009, it agreed to suspend regular maintenance of its site so that US-backed Iranian protesters could coordinate on the platform and advertise their efforts to bring down the Iranian government in a color revolution. And last year, we at MintPress reported how Twitter actively participated in an attempt to overthrow the Cuban government in similar protests. Despite the small size of these demonstrations, Twitter staff chose to put the protest movement at the top of its global What's Happening sidebar for more than 36 hours, meaning that tens of millions of users were alerted to them. They also allowed the platform to be flooded with a massive and blatantly astroturfed regime change hashtag campaign, with thousands of brand new accounts tweeting the same slogans and posts, right down to the same minor typos. And Twitter did not take action against these accounts until long after the protests had failed. In 2009, the US government even held meetings with Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey and tried to convince him to buy a communications app they'd secretly created and marketed towards the Cubans in an attempt to bring down their government. In reality then, Twitter has always worked closely with the US national security state. For years, it has deleted or suppressed accounts in Iran, China, Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, or any other nation that is a target of the US empire. Often this has been done expressly on the orders of the FBI. Last year, it even announced that it had deleted accounts for the crime of, quote, undermining faith in the NATO alliance. In short then, those paying close attention have long known that Twitter and other social media platforms are tools of US empire. The Twitter files just underlines this point.